What's going on, everybody? Joe here from Mainline Overland. We're starting a new video series where we're going to sit down and highlight those kind of main events and main characters that we're going to have at our Mid-Atlantic Overland Festival. So we're going to be starting this video off today with talking to JB from OEX. And then we're going to be continuing this video series as more and more people get added to the event. We're super excited for this year's event. So we have some really great things in store for you. So I'm going to hand it over to JB here. JB, if you take a minute to tell everyone out there who you are and what does OEX do?
Cool. Good to be back with you, Joe. Good
Yeah,
to be back with Mainline Overland. So, yeah, my name is JB McClure. I'm one of the owners of Overland Experts, OEX. We basically, in a nutshell, we teach civilian, military, special operations, off-road driver training. We also work with manufacturers, developing some of their platforms, vehicle platforms. We work with fire and rescue. Basically, anybody who wants to learn how to drive or operate a vehicle off-road, that's what we do. We've been doing it since 1998. One of the oldest in the business, and we love it and hope to continue doing it.
so thanks for that quick rundown, JB. If I'm not mistaken, you guys have a couple locations all across the country. Is that correct?
We do, yes, we sure do. So our original location, in one of which we still operate, keep a fleet there, is in Connecticut. We also have a location in North Carolina, central North Carolina, near the URI National Forest. We keep a purpose-built course there with a fleet of vehicles. Then we also operate on BLM and state land, which we hold permits for just outside of Salt Lake City. So we have a fleet there that's kind of our newest and brightest and biggest thing. So yeah,
What's
yeah.
your favorite vehicle out of that new fleet there?
Oh, good Lord. That's a trick question. Well, you know what? I guess I have to say our HJ 75, 70,
Nice.
actually. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. It's kind of, we call it the goat or the lobster boat because it sounds like a lobster boat. But yeah, love it. Love that truck.
Yeah, you can't beat those old school Toyota diesel trucks. They're sweet. So JB, there's a lot of different knowledge out there. There's tons of videos. There's tons of articles out there. People trying to explain the proper recovery techniques. But I guess what is really the importance of having that proper training done, and what separates you guys from just watching a video on YouTube? How does that kind of hands-on experience really kind of improves people knowledge and also increase safety of everything?
Cool. Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So, first of all, yeah, why is it important? I don't think, and we don't think, you can call yourself a very good driver off road without having some idea of how to recover. It's just part of what it is to drive off road. So unlike, obviously sports car driving, something like that, you don't necessarily you need to know how to recover your car off it runs off after it runs off the track. Off-road's a bit different. You need to know a little something to continue driving that vehicle. So
Mhm.
yeah, we think it's a very important skill along with any other skill driving off-road. And to learn how to do it safely, sure, YouTube, sometimes I say is our biggest competitor.
Mhm.
But there is no substitute for getting your hands on the equipment, and
Mhm.
getting your hands and head in a scenario,
Yeah.
um, than doing it live, doing it kind of in the field, and that's
Mhm.
something that we harp on and we practice and try to get out there. So yeah, recovery is extremely important, to being a good driver. We've certainly seen people that we've seen drivers that can't recover, and we've seen people that know all about the recovery world but can't drive. So it's they work together, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how we teach it.
Nice. So through all your kind of classes and experience out there, what is one of the most common mistakes you see beginners kind of make whenever they're doing a recovery?
Yeah, that's a good one too. So one of the biggest things is and we, it's easy to fall into it, but it's kind of once you recover, a lot of people just, you get all kind of, you get your blinders on, you're freaking out.
Mhm.
My truck's stuck, and oh my God, or his truck's stuck, or her truck's stuck.
Mhm.
So we see a lot of people just kind of jump the gun and not assess what got their vehicle stuck. What exactly is holding up that vehicle from continuing down the trail?
Mhm.
And that dictates the recovery. That literally dictates kind of everything. What mode you work with, whether you're grabbing a winch, or am I grabbing a strap, or am I grabbing a max track, or am I just grabbing a floor mat sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, assessing the situation is important, and we see a lot of people kind of skip that. They all want to, like I said, break out the winch
Yeah.
when maybe a floor mat will do it. So yeah, assessing it. That's the biggest thing we've seen as far as mistakes made.
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of people out there kind of like once they get stuck, they immediately want to go jump and use their winch and rig it all up. But a lot of the times, a set of max tracks placed in the right spot is really all you need. And
Yeah.
going to save you 10, 15 minutes where if you just throw those recovery boards out and pop right up, you don't need, might not always need to do the full rig up. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of kind of sketchy situations out there, people not doing the right thing. What are some of the sketchier things you've seen people try to do when trying to make a recovery out there?
Yeah, those are some good ones. So, not knowing the modes of recovery, not knowing what piece of equipment is actually designed to do what.
Mm,
We've seen equipment meant for static. Of course, the good old boy chain. We've seen that. We've seen the good old boy chain used as almost a dynamic situation, meaning snatching a
yeah,
vehicle out
that's
with a
scary.
chain, and that's a bomb. Um, but people not paying attention, literally, they just kind of again get the blinders on, or they're just freaking out. They're not paying attention to what they're doing, where they're standing. I've seen people literally stand over straddling a rope that's laying on the ground, and you know what happens there.
Yeah.
We see a lot of people just freak out, run to the front of the fair lead with an ungloved hand and look for something that may be wrong, and so just keeping your wits about you, knowing
Mhm.
your gear. Um, and that may be the key to everything. Knowing your gear, knowing that it's spec. That's we had a clinic years ago in New Jersey, and a bunch of guys in Jeeps were using. They just didn't know what the gear was spec'd at. I mean, we
Mhm.
saw little stuff for ATV recovery being used in full size trucks. So it's just yeah, yeah, knowing what you have in your hand and knowing how to use it. Um, that's the best advice I could give.
Yeah, so it seems like whenever you get stuck, kind of slowing down, assessing situation, and knowing your gear are kind of really the two big things that kind of a lot of people get wrong. Is it's a kind of sketchy situation you're in. You want to get out as fast as possible, but it's definitely need to kind of take a deep breath, focus on what you're doing, and relax a little bit because a lot of people get kind of overwhelmed and worked up, and that's a lot of. I would think a lot of time when those mistakes are happening.
100%. Yeah. And just in rushing through things,
Mm,
and recovery is the one. And you talk about sketchy stuff. All the accidents that we see from drivers. Uh, Recovery is where it starts getting nasty to
yeah.
person.
Hmm.
You see all the videos, people pulling bumpers off and all this kind of stuff. But the things that literally that happen to you, we see them in recovery situations. It's
Yeah.
just it's scary as you know what.
Yeah.
So it pays to get trained.
Yeah. Definitely. So JB, I'm super excited to have OEX back at the Overland Festival this year. I know it's kind of one of the main attractions a lot of people look forward to. Can you tell the people out there what kind of classes you're going to be running this year at our event?
Yeah, cool, man. Well, first of all, we're excited about coming back. We love it. Literally is one of our favorite events.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. So we'll do what we did last year. So usually what we do is kind of a 101 thing, kind of a survey of some of the recovery equipment, survey of some of the practices,
Hmm.
both with recovery and driving the vehicle. Then the next day, what we normally do is some demonstrations, some simple, single line pull with a winch, how that works, proper use of the winch, kind of terminology,
Hmm.
simple rigs, so single line pull. We probably do a redirect of some kind, or mechanical advantage. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's everybody seems to have a winch out there, and they want to know more about it and how to use it safely. So yeah, yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be a lot
No.
of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely good. People are interested in learning more. They kind of understand the dangers and can be done safely if you use all the right precautions when setting it up.
Hmm.
when I'm talking to people about the Overland Festival, I always kind of bring up your event or your classes because almost just, if even just someone attends your two classes over those 2 days, it like almost covers. That's like well worth the price of admission to our event.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good. Yeah, no, you're right. That's a really good point. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a good bang for the buck. That's for
Yeah,
sure. And you learn a lot more, obviously,
yeah,
from other vendors and stuff out there. But one thing I will say though, is yes, you will learn a lot. It is obviously it's really hard to impart everything we know about everything within, just some time, a little bit of time. But yeah, it really is a very good way to get introduced to staying safe,
mhm,
and proper practices. And yeah, and that's one thing we love about your all's event is it's, I don't know, it's a cozier atmosphere and it's easier to learn stuff. It's not, I don't know, sometimes I feel overwhelmed
mhm,
at other events. There's just so much stuff going on. So
yeah.
yeah, works out really well.
Nice. Yeah, that's we get that a lot. A lot of people like our event because it's smaller scale, a little more family friendly. You feel like you can go around and actually meet everyone at the event. Where
Hmm.
a lot seems like a lot of the other overland events out there are kind of big and corporate, and just you're just overwhelmed with hundreds of vendors, hundreds of different classes.
Yep.
Where our
Yep.
event we can
Yep.
slow down a little bit, enjoy the time together, and
Yeah.
try to learn something new. So, JB, thanks again for hopping on this call to go over a little bit more about OEX and what you guys are going to be doing at our Overland Festival. Again, we're super excited to have you back. It's always kind of one of the main events at our event. So, super grateful you guys come back year after year. I think it's one of the more beneficial classes that we hold, and especially for people who are new to Overland or just getting into this, or even people that have been doing it for a while. There's always something to kind of get refreshed on or relearn in the recovery world because at the end of the day, that's one of the more kind of dangerous situations you're going to be doing while off roading. So our event's going to take place August 7th through 11th up in Huntington, Pennsylvania. We have a beautiful 200-acre farm up there with a bunch of vendors. Great people like OEX are going to be there running demonstration classes. We have film festivals, special guests. It's a really action-packed weekend. Really great to see everyone out there again this year. So JB, thanks again, and look forward to seeing you in August.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, Joe. Look forward to
Yep.
being there.